we'll send it out later. My name is Elena Greenberg. I'm the Senior Program Coordinator with WISE at the University of Arizona. I'm super excited to share about what we've been doing this past year and what we do as a program so that hopefully we can share some resources out for other folks to implement their own ecological data science outreach broadly in Arizona. I'm going to go ahead and share some slides that we've prepared for today. And hopefully everybody can see that okay. If there's any tech issues throughout the webinar, feel free to type in the chat and let us know so that we can make those adjustments so that everybody can participate. So today we're going to be talking about the Biodiversity Project, which is our environmental science outreach program housed at the University of Arizona. We're going to be talking about how we've expanded access to the ecological data science outreach programming here locally in Tucson, Arizona. Our agenda for today, I will start and finish the webinar, and then in the middle, we have some amazing guest speakers who are going to speak to their own personal experience participating in the program and can share a little bit more about what that looked like for them. At the end, we have some time reserved for questions and answers, so if you have questions about how we approached a certain aspect of our program or how we can help you implement this in your own programming, please feel free to type that in the chat, or at the end of the call, feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask questions then. So the Biodiversity Project is housed at the University of Arizona. We're based at the Women in Science and Engineering program, or WISE for short, in the Southwest Institute for Research on Women, or CIRO. At our program, we're able to reach approximately 700 K-12 students per year with our environmental science outreach. And our goal is really to increase the diversity of voices included in the discussions of environmental problems and the development of their solutions. So we really hope to reach underrepresented students here in Tucson at Title I schools and help them see themselves belonging in science and develop a sense of science identity. Our amazing partners here at the University of Arizona in the School of Natural Resources and the Environment were awarded an NSF grant recently, and we are the community partner on this grant. So we're able, through the Biodiversity Project, to expand our program to include ecological data science outreach. And this has been a really amazing development that we piloted this last year, and we're continuing to work on this upcoming academic year. So I'm excited to share a little bit of some resources that we've learned throughout this last year of pilot programming and some changes that we're making to this upcoming year to help improve the success of our program. The data science outreach, we have kind of a theory of change with our program. So you can think of it kind of like an equation to help succeed. So we have, facilitated a lot of hands-on, culturally responsive and place-based ecological data science outreach in these local Title I schools. And we provide professional development training for university students. And this includes a lot of mentorship and workforce development training as well. And through these two things, we hope to see kind of a long-term impact of increasing self-efficacy, positive science identity, as well as sense of belonging for underrepresented students. And we kind of broadly think of underrepresented students as both K-12 students as well as college students. So hoping to see themselves fit within the scientific community and find a place, hopefully seeing these younger students as well, seeing themselves go to college and pursue science in their future. Within our data science program and this NSF grant, we have kind of three primary goals. The first is to develop existing curriculum that can be fitted into life science courses and classes across Arizona. The second is to deliver culturally responsive place-based curriculum that students see a purpose in, so it fits within kind of real-world context. And we hope to deliver this to about 300 K through 12 students every year. We also hope to provide leadership and pedagogy training to these university students and support to these interns who are delivering the content to the local classrooms. So our outreach structure is that the university students design this amazing curriculum in collaboration with our staff members here at WISE. They facilitate the outreach on a biweekly or weekly basis. So we really focus on depth of programming and relationship building with younger students over breadth. So this last year was our pilot year of the program, and we were able to reach about 200 middle and high school students through our data science outreach programming. We also aim to include representation of historically marginalized scientists. So we really focus on including gender minorities, first-generation college goers, low-income and BIPOC scientists through what we call the Scientist of the Week, embedded in every lesson that the interns teach at local schools. And so I wanted to include an example. On the right-hand side, you can see Dr. Erin McGee featured. She's a graduate of the University of Arizona, so I really appreciate, including her. She, of course, studies lizards and works to increase diversity within the natural resource fields. So this is just one example of a Scientist of the Week that we include in every outreach that we do to our middle and high school classrooms. The university students sign up for a semester-long commitment. So they receive both academic credit as well as a paid internship opportunity through this partnership. We also provide weekly seminars that are 2-hour-long classes at the university where we have guest speakers come in, we have different workshops and trainings and support to help these interns really develop the confidence and context for why we do what we do, and to develop this kind of workforce development, so feeling comfortable as a leader after they leave our program. We also have these weekly planning meetings to help kind of strategic planning and curriculum design and development and implementation for the interns to help develop that pedagogy and that approach. We do have some periodic assignments that really focus on science communication and developing public speaking skills. So those happen periodically throughout the semester and take place within the weekly seminars. And these student interns have a semester-long site placement. So where they're based, they will stay for the full semester and really focus on that relationship building with the younger students and helping them find that sense of belonging within STEM. And we wouldn't be able to do this program without our amazing partner teachers. So we have a handful of partner teachers that have committed to participating for a full academic year. And we're lucky to have the teachers from our pilot year last year continue to participate this upcoming year. So we're really looking forward to that. Our partner teachers' role is really to provide the U of A students constructive feedback and help and support with this effective classroom management and also on educational strategies. So one of the things that came up a lot this last year was how to scaffold lessons, and especially in terms of like data science content, how to scaffold that for younger students to feel included and approachable content to help them participate fully. They also commit to fostering interest in STEM and helping their students find interest in STEM and grow knowledge of our local ecosystem and local biodiversity. They do commit to dedicating a minimum of an hour, but our partner teachers tend to commit more than that. So they'll have several classes that participate in our data science outreach program every week throughout the full academic year. The biodiversity project, of course, is housed within WISE at the university, and I think that's really helpful context to know because we have access to a lot of resources here on campus. So a lot of our seminars have guest speakers that will come into our class and provide kind of expert knowledge to help our university students develop the skills that they need to be successful in the classroom. So with that being said, I do want to go ahead and pass the mic off to the director of WISE to explain a little bit more about what we do within WISE and how the biodiversity project and our data science outreach fits into all of that. So I'll go ahead and pass it off to you, Dr. Murphy.
Hi, folks. Thanks for the invitation to be here today. So I'm the director of the WISE program here at the University of Arizona. And as Elena mentioned, the biodiversity project is one of our core programs within WISE. But I did want to just say a few words about WISE in general and overall, just to give some context to our work and our kind of overarching mission. And so with that regard, we are really primarily dedicated to supporting the sort of entry, persistence, and ultimately the success of underrepresented students in STEM. And as you might imagine from our title, right, we're really focused on gender equity. But within WISE, we really take an intersectional approach to gender equity issues throughout the STEM pipeline. So at different moments in time across the STEM pipeline, from early exposure, early outreach, all the way up to workforce development. And so because we think about gender intersectionally, that means that for us, it's very important that all of our programs and projects are very in tune to the needs of folks who are multiply underrepresented. And with that sort of in mind, we really pay a lot of attention to issues of racial and class inequity. And that's why for us, it's very important to be working in Title I schools throughout local communities. And so just to give you a sense of our sort of 3 pillars of our main work, we conduct K through 12 outreach, right? Things like the Biodiversity Project. And we have a few other projects that are quite similar to that work. We also do a lot of professional development support resources and experiences for college students. And so we really do think about our biodiversity interns as folks who we really want to help support their own career development, professional development goals. And then, of course, throughout all of our work, we really try to pay attention to evaluation and research, and really bringing things that are evidence-backed, evidence-based, and also building the evidence base so that we can evaluate our own programs and to do the work more effectively to meet the needs of those in our community who need these programs the most. And so that's just a little bit about WISE overall. I've included a link to our annual report for anyone who wants to just learn a little bit more about our organization or our work. And as Elena mentioned, we are housed here at the university. And so one of the benefits of that is we do have access to a lot of different partners, collaborators, and also institutional resources. And so we're always open to developing new relationships with folks in the community. So with that, I will just pass it back to Elena. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. Great. So now I'd like to invite one of our former interns from the Biodiversity Project to speak about her experience in the program, Grace. Grace is now a senior in information sciences at the university. So Grace, whenever you're ready, I'll pass the mic off to you.
Hi, my name is Grace. Thank you for the introduction, Elena. I just wanted to put on here a little mock schedule of what to expect as an intern. You do regular check-ins with your peer mentor, and you do a 2-hour class weekly, and you get paired up with a co-intern. And so together you create a lesson plan. And we taught 8 times, so we had to do 8 different plans. And then during the check-ins with your peer mentor, you go over, you get feedback, you take their feedback and make some edits and revisions to make it a really awesome and hands-on lesson. And then you do teaching once a week or twice a week, which I found out the new intern group will be doing. And that can range from anywhere from an hour in the classroom up to 4 hours, depending on how much time you want to dedicate and the classes. And as well, there's some extra field trips, assignments, class discussions, and other type of interactive meetings that are really beneficial to growing your public speaking and teaching abilities. And throughout the entire internship, there was an enormous amount of help offered. If you're supposed to do around 10 hours a week, if that time ever got stressful or you needed some extra hands in the classroom, whatever you need, Elena, as well as peer mentors and just other interns, are so gracious to dedicate. So it was a really big team effort, and I learned a lot of collaboration throughout the internship.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Grace. And now I'll go ahead and invite one of our former partner teachers and current partner teachers to speak a little bit from her perspective on what it was like to participate at one of our local schools.
Hi, I'm Gabriela Contreras. I am the AVID coordinator and also teacher at Catalina High School. So I've had several actually, interns come into the classroom and co-teach together. And while they were co-teaching, I was kind of in I guess the background of the room, supporting with making sure classroom management was being met. So that way they're not distracted with that, because they're as interns there to help really bring awareness to our students and help ignite their passion and their fire and understanding of what science and engineering and biodiversity possibilities are from a university student's perspective, which is really invaluable because these students get so excited when they see these college students in the room. They want to know about what is it like being at a university level, what is it like with all these different projects that they're bringing in, and honestly, a lot of the students at my high school are from other places. They're from other cities, other states, and even other countries. So when they're hearing about this project, they're really learning quite a lot. They're learning about how to communicate with each other on a project. As you can see, they have hands-on projects, taking notes from the slide that we have up on the screen. We have also learning about the animals and the plant life and cycles and systems. And these interns who share this from the biodiversity project really make these connections with every student that they're in the room with, because these students, my high school students, are seeing different levels. They're seeing that a young college student taking the opportunity to go to college. They're also seeing that these young women college students are interested in science and engineering. They're also seeing that it's possible for them as high school students to learn about these things, and they can see themselves fitting into those places in their future. So it's a wonderful experience, and it's highly valuable for each student in that classroom. And even as a teacher, just being able to be part of just guiding and giving feedback to the interns when they're in the room, it's just been a really wonderful experience. And Elena, again, thank you for having me be part of today and just share this experience.
Thank you so much, Gabriella. Yeah, and we're super grateful for you taking time out of your school day as well to attend this webinar and to share about your experience. So really looking forward to this next year. I do want to talk a little bit about what we saw this last year and how some of our evaluation has met our goals. So this last year, we did both pre and post surveys with our program participants from the U of A and from our local schools to evaluate the impact of our program, to see what's working and see what kind of changes we need to make for the upcoming year. I think one of the highlighted goals is that the university students have been interested in a teaching career, which is really wonderful. We've also seen them reporting gaining confidence in teaching data science and expressing their confidence being able to implement social justice-based pedagogical strategies, which is really important, as we know. This is a photo here that I just wanted to show as an example of some of the work that our university students have done. This is a photo of some of our interns, including Grace, installing some hummingbird feeders at the high school that Gabriella works at. And what they did, and I'm sure Grace can tell you more, but what they did is they installed the hummingbird feeders and they also installed wildlife cameras, and they collected data, I think over a period of 2 to 3 weeks. And then they invited the high school students to clean and sort the data and to evaluate what they saw. Interestingly, they didn't find a lot of hummingbirds, but they did find a lot of other birds visiting the feeders. And so they were able to use coding with the students to see what visited and what time of day and the impact of that on our local biodiversity within the local high school. So I thought that was a really amazing project that I just wanted to highlight. Some of the other impact successes that we saw from our program was that the university students had positive experience with the data science lesson development as well as the delivery. A big portion of their time spent throughout the week was with the lesson plan creation. I think that curriculum development is definitely a skill learned over time. And the delivery, the public speaking and the science communication was something that they can definitely use in their future careers. It also revealed a lot of challenges of data science pedagogy while maintaining confidence, integrating this into the curriculum. However, we did see an increase in self-efficacy in facilitating outreach education broadly. And we, of course, hope that these students continue to use these skills that they learned throughout the internship in whatever they do in their future. Based on what we found from this evaluation, we are making some exciting changes for this next program year, so I wanted to share those as well. We are expanding from a semester-long internship to a year-long internship for the university students so that they have more time to develop these skills and more time, especially for the curriculum development, which we know is really kind of time intensive. And we want to make sure that it's the highest quality curriculum that we can produce and facilitate in our local schools. We also are expanding the grades that we're working with to include both lower and higher grades. This last year, we worked with 6th through 9th graders, and this next year, we're working with 4th through 12th graders. So we're excited to include more students in our program to be able to receive this data science education. We're also increasing the number of guest speakers, mentors, networking opportunities for university students in our weekly seminars. And we're particularly paying a lot of attention to bringing in experts within the field of data science to expand on our university students' knowledge for how to implement these things in local classrooms. Lastly, we're hiring a university student to serve as a near-peer mentor to help assist our incoming interns in developing this curriculum and overall, kind of more broadly, being successful in an internship while also being a student. So we're really looking forward to these changes happening this next year. Now, the purpose of this webinar is really to share resources. So one of the primary resources that I want to share with you all is our curriculum. The QR code links to our website where you can download any curriculum that you find useful or that you'd like to implement in your own programs. We have a lot of curriculum that's kind of individual environmental science lessons. And then we also have the lessons that Grace and her co-intern created that are data science lessons. So there are a few coding lessons. There are also some environmental science lessons. There's the, you can have the project curriculum and guideline for how to do the hummingbird feeder installations and all of this. So that's all available to download on our website. Lastly, I want to kind of invite our audience to ask any questions that you may have, both of myself, but also of our guests. So if you have any questions from any of the perspectives that were shared today, please feel free to either unmute yourself or to type a question in the chat. I'm actually going to stop screen sharing just so I can see everybody a little bit more clearly. And I want to as well thank everybody for spending the time, especially our guests today, sharing your time with us and sharing your perspective on what it's like to be a participant in this kind of a program. And for our audience members to thank you for sharing your time learning about our program. We appreciate the opportunity to share about what we've been doing. So if there's any questions, please feel free to type it into the chat or unmute yourself and we'd be happy to answer. Great. I don't see any questions coming in. So if it's all right, I'd just like to ask Grace one follow-up question from her presentation. Grace, I'm just wondering, what you feel like was the biggest takeaway for you as a former intern in the program and how you're taking that into this next year.
That's a great question. I would say it was one of the most impactful experiences really working with a team, not just with my co-intern on a day-to-day basis, but also with so many different stakeholders, so to say, like Gabriella and Andrea, as well as Elena and Stephanie, and just the other interns in the class. And so it was an amazing experience to balance how do I communicate with someone that's my peer versus like a little bit my boss, and also the main ones were the students. So I had to learn how to communicate effectively with ninth graders, and especially with data science, it can be a little bit difficult to navigate. I honestly didn't even begin learning about data science until I was in 12th grade and in my first year of college. So it was really awesome to see the questions, to answer the questions they were asking, and also to learn how to take it very, very slow and very basic, and then kind of work your way up. I'm happy to hear that the internship will now be a year long. I think that will be a really positive change. I think it takes time to build up that language.
Awesome.
So,
thanks, Grace, for sharing.
yeah, of course.
Michelle.
Hi, thanks so much
Hi.
for doing this and doing all of this work. And I just think it's awesome. I was just wondering if you have come across high school students that after, being experienced to these data science lesson plans and activities and such, whether you see any interest in them doing research projects of their own. And have you had any? What did that look like? Or I'm just really interested in that.
I think that's a great question. And I'm hoping that I can pass it off to Gabriella to speak a little bit about her perspective.
Yeah, that is a wonderful question. So I find that I've had several students last year that were motivated to join and get out of their comfort zone, really, to join. We had a hiking club, so they joined that so they could see what they were learning firsthand. And then also join other things on our campus, which was like a gardening club where they were learning how to kind of like take care of plants. But then I also saw and heard students talking about how their interest in becoming more aware that they thought science and scientists were one thing, and they realized that it's much bigger picture than what they were thinking. They were thinking like lab coats and really old people. And then they were seeing, because of the projects of introducing a new scientist each week, they started to realize that it could be many things. In fact, there was a lesson that I believe Grace taught about how science could be even about like cooking and about other things of research. So that really was something that I think hit home for a lot of these students that are here. And what was exciting was hearing them pairing that thinking process with other classes, with because I have quite a few who are in like their business classes. And so they were taking that idea of like, oh, well, these things I'm learning here can also help me with the business aspect of what I may be interested in. So there was a lot of like cross-curricular and personal interest overlapping from this. And I do think the like communication and collaboration really helped with confidence skills for the students. Them being able to, I just want to add, being able to like look at the data and like the actual program the kids got to run once they were looking at the photos of all the birds and things. They were just really impressed that they were able to just participate and run it and look at things. That was also a really huge wow factor for those kids.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's super exciting. And just the reason I asked is I work with SARSF quite a bit, and just wondering if there's students who might think like, oh, now I can do, I can continue and do a project. So, but thank you.
I think that's a really important question to ask. Yeah. And I think one of the jobs that I find to be really important within my job description is connecting dots. So I do like to send Gabriella and other teachers that are involved in our program other opportunities that the university runs or is in collaboration with. I know one of those that some of Gabriella's students participated in was GALS, so the Girls Outdoor Leadership, right, by Elise. And I know that some of the students at Catalina were able to participate in that, and that was a really important experience. So hoping to connect even more opportunities for students in the future. I think I also want to highlight that these students who participated in the pilot program last year at Catalina are also participating this upcoming year. So we were able to continue working with them, and I'm sure that they're going to recall all the amazing lessons that Grace taught last year and have curiosities that we can kind of explore this upcoming year. Are there any other questions that we can answer? And if not, I'll go ahead and leave my email in the chat here so that folks can contact me with any questions that might come up. Super happy to continue conversations, to provide any resources, and also to see if there's any avenues for future collaboration. We're really thrilled to be able to share about our data science outreach with you all. So thanks again for taking the time to participate. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And again, Elena, thank you so much for putting this together today. It was good seeing you, Grace. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great semester. I'm sure we'll talk soon again.
Yes, same. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.